Hey, how we going, guys? Mick here from Not Cartel, back on a kick-ass beer review, going to review another home brew. So this is a version of a Pacific Ale, but we've named this one Breakwall Assassin. So Breakwall Assassin came from childhood days when we used to muck around and send people on wild goose chases with what they call midnight breakwall. Midnight breakwall was something that never existed. There is no breakwall in the middle of sort of back then, which was quite, I guess they would call it semi-rural. It was farming land down here in Maryland in Midnight, so midnight breakwall basically was sort of centered around a dam in the area of Midnight. And in particular, from memory, for me, it was like Midnight Breakwall was part of Clearwater Dam. It was a dam that you could see the bottom of. We used to go yabbying there, catching crawchies and just, you know, being larrikins, riding motorbikes and horses and mucking around. So yeah, so Midnight Breakwall is basically how the name of this beer come about. So Breakwall Assassin, as mentioned, is a style of Pacific Ale. A few changes have been made to this beer away from the traditional Pacific Ale recipe. So we'll get it poured up. We'll talk about this recipe brew sheet done through Grainfather and the changes that we've made to it. So our spin on a Pacific Ale is 21 litre batch, 3 litres of loss, 60-minute boil, 75% mash efficiency, 26.63 litres of mash volume, 4.41 litres of sparge volume. Gives us a 1048 original gravity, finishing gravity of a 1008, 24.1 IBUs. Our EBCs were 8.2, 5.23% ABV come out on this one. So we used, instead of the traditional ale malt, be it Australian or American ale malt 2-row, we used the Joe White Malting's Export Pilsner. So their craft Export Pilsner is very much a light style of lager malt we've used in this one. I just wanted a bit more crisp finish on the beer, and we used 3.8 kilos of that craft Export Pilsner, 700 grams of rolled oats. So traditionally a lot of people don't use the rolled oats in their Pacific Ale recipe. I've done this to try and bring a little bit more mouthfeel, a little bit more creaminess to the actual beer. And the wheat malt, 450 grams of wheat malt and 100 grams of carapace. So traditionally you would use, like I said, an Australian ale malt or American ale 2-row. You would not use the rolled oats. You'd use a torrefied wheat and the normal wheat malt. So rolled oats from Gladfield, wheat malt from Gladfield, weigh and done with the carapace, and Joe White Maltings used with the craft Export Pilsner. So a little bit more of a crisp beer. It allows those specialty malts to come through a little bit more, in particular the rolled oats and the carapace, to give it a really sort of creamy head, a bit more creaminess in the actual beer itself. Mash step 1, 65 degrees for the 60 minutes, and then a 10-minute mash out at 75. 10 grams of Galaxy hops went in, so traditionally use a Galaxy in a Pacific Ale. We've stuck with that Galaxy variety of hops with this beer. Another 10 grams has gone in at 15 minutes, and then 80 grams for day 3 of a dry hop. So right at sort of the high krausen of the beer, dropping in that Galaxy. So a real good hit of Galaxy. Galaxy has quickly became my least favourite hop, but I don't mind it too much in this beer. But I found the latest releases of Galaxy, particularly in some of the the commercial craft beer releases, tastes nothing like what it used to. So it has actually changed quite recently. I've been reading a little bit online about Galaxy not being the same, and a lot of people are making the same comment about the Galaxy variety. It's not the same as what it used to be. I hated it when I first started brewing. I sort of got my head around it a little bit more as I brewed more and more, and then it's sort of gone to, well, I would be honest and say it's gone to shit again. I'm just not a real big fan of the Galaxy. A little bit of Galaxy used with something else to try and bring what Galaxy brings, and then top it up with some other variety. It plays well with other varieties. There's no doubt about that, but it's not something I'm enjoying a hell of a lot on its own, which it's on its own in this particular beer, as it is in most Pacific Ale versions. USO 5, just the one packet in this, and 18 degrees for the 10 days. So everything pretty much standard there. What we do on our brewing system, it's just the version 1 of the Robo Brew, and yeah, everything seems to be these smaller sort of lower ABV beers are definitely everything's sort of done the same. Try and stick with the consistency of the system, and consistency with the finished product. I get used to the way my beers taste. Might not taste that inviting to some others. They'll pick faults and so forth in the beer, but it's what the home brewing's all about. It's just, for me, I'd rather just keep stuff on tap, keep a variety, keep experimenting, keep playing around with the beers that I'm playing around with, and forget about doing fucking competitions, because as long as you like the beer and the beer tastes good for you, then who really cares? I'll pour this up a little bit more. We'll have a look at the beer. It does present well with those extra ingredients in it. As you can see here, it's very, very fluffy, very, very creamy. Just, you know, pushing pavlova. That's what I call it, pushing pavlova out of the top of the glass. That colour is beautiful. It's spot on for the style of beer, particularly a Pacific Ale. Looks amazing under light. Looks great out in the sunlight. We haven't got much sun here today. It's actually raining. You probably hear it on the roof of the brewery here, and you can smell the Galaxy coming through quite well on this one. It does punch out really well. That wheat and the oats come through really well on the beer as well. But those hops, they do sing. A little bit more bitter than your traditional Pacific Ale, but this is the Breakwall Assassin, so we've gone with what we like to drink. Going for a taste. It clings really well to the grass, which is what we want as well. Coats that top lip. That sort of flavour I'm getting from the Galaxy is not coming through as much as what I had in some of the other beers, in particular, like I said, the commercial craft beers. I just think, like, it's a real prominent bitterness that comes with the Galaxy, and it's not from the beginning. Even when I started brewing with Galaxy at the start, it was definitely not a very friendly hop to use as a bittering addition, and it's not clean, and that's what I get. So those beers are using quite a lot of Galaxy at the top end. Like I said, this is only 15 grams at the 60-minute mark, and then a further 10 grams at the 15-minute mark, and then the rest of it's gone in. Has gone in as a dry hop. So but it tastes brilliant. Could probably dial back a little bit on the weight of those hops. Maybe possibly bring that 60-minute addition down to somewhere like a 45 or even the 30-minute, just to try and dial back on some of that bitterness. It's more of a grassy bitterness that I'm getting from it. The earlier days when I used Galaxy, I used to get a lot of passion fruit and slight citrus vibes from it, but it's not like that anymore. Talking to one of the tour guides up at, just recently done the 4X tour, and it was quite interesting beer tour, that one at the 4X brewery. I actually did find it quite interesting, and to even drink 4X at the end of the tour, along with, I think we had 150 lashes, 4X bitter, 4X standard, 3 beers on offer at the end of it, I think it was, and then we went and had the Warkworth stout at the end. I down 2 points of that, which was quite heavy at 7.4%, downing 2 points. Not exactly friendly, but they talked about Galaxy while we were there, and in particular, even he mentioned, the tour guide had mentioned how much Galaxy has changed over the years, and that the way Galaxy is at the moment is nothing like it used to be. I think everyone's got the same opinion when they use it. A lot of people have sort of drawn away from using Galaxy. I will continue to use it. It's a lot more readily available than what it was. We went through a period there a while ago where it was very hard to get, and anything that was available seemed to be sent over to America because the Americans love Galaxy for some reason. Not sure how they feel about it now, but it's changed a little bit. But it is actually a really nice beer to have on tap. I do love my Pacific Ales from Stone and Wood. There's a few other Pacific Ales available, but they all have their own touch, and this is our touch on the Breakwall Assassin, a version of the Pacific Ale. Cheers.